Hey everybody, this is Ranger William from the Overmountain Victory National Historic Trail. Now when you're doing a camp out, even if it's just in your backyard or your living room, one important part of that is games and activities to help fill the time. Now the story of the Overmountain Victory Trail takes place during the Revolutionary War. So when we're camping out, one fun thing to do is thinking about what did they play back then in the 18th century? What was a popular game or pastime? I'm going to teach you guys how to play one of those today. It's a game called Nine Man's Morris. Now it's a very simple game. You don't need really any special tools or pieces. All you need is a playing board and 2 sets of 9 markers. These are going to be called men for the game. 2 sets of 9 men. Now the board is very simple. You can either draw it on a piece of paper like I'm about to show you here, or you can even just draw it in the dirt. It's a very old game. No one really knows when this was first created, but there have been board games for Nine Man's Morris found in ancient Egypt. We're just not sure who put them there. So what we're going to do to make the game is the board is 3 squares that are within each other. So we're going to start with our innermost square first. And then we're going to move out a little bit and do a larger square. And finally, the third and largest square of all, surrounding the entire bundle. So as you see here, 3 nested squares. What we're then going to do is place a large circle or a dot on each corner. Each corner of all 3 squares. Like so. And then we're going to place another dot halfway between each corner. So right on the midpoint of each side. Now you don't have to get too scientific and measure to make sure you're even. Just what looks the best to you. Now once we have drawn all of our dots here on the corners and on the midpoints, we're going to draw some more lines, this time connecting the midpoints of one side to each other like that. We're only going to do this for the midpoints. We are not going to do this for the corners. So this nice kind of geometric pattern that we have here. Now, if it helps to think about how the game is going to be played, what you've just drawn, the dots are going to be stopping places, and the lines are going to be like roads. Think of it like that. The point of this game is to get 3 of your men, 3 of your markers in a row, called a mill, and prevent your opponent from being able to do the same. Didn't know that was in the picture, then we move that. So, now that we've drawn our board, we have to have our 2 sets of 9, our 2 teams, our 2 men. Now, just gathering what I have here in my backyard, I've gathered 9 little pebbles and 9 little seed balls from a sweet gum tree. A lot of sweet gum trees here in my backyard. So once we've drawn the board, we're going to take turns placing them. This is the first phase of the game. And if you're able to get 3 in a row and form a mill during the placing, then you are able to remove one of your opponent's pieces, not only off the board for him to use later, but remove it from the game entirely. This is going to make it very difficult to form a mill for the opponent later on. So it's going to be kind of tricky playing against myself here. We'll see what we can do. Place 1, place another. Well, stones are trying to form a 3. So I'll block them with that one. But now the sweet gums could form 3, so I'll block them with a stone here. Try something over on this side. Another stone here on the innermost square. Any spot is up for grabs. You don't have to fill from the outer to the inner or any certain direction. Any spot that is open can be filled. Sweet gums are a little large. Might be kind of tricky to see once they get filled in here. I'm going to block them again over here. Now your rows of 3 that you're trying to form, they can only be where the lines connect. Like for example, if you can see, you have 3 corners all taken up by the stones. But since they are not connected by a line, that is not a mill and that does not count. Oh, whose turn is it? I think it's the stones. So I'll show you kind of here an example. If I place a stone here, if Mr. Sweet Gum does not see that a mill is about to be formed, and he goes over here, the stones have just formed a mill of 3, and they're able to choose any one of the Sweet Gum and remove them from the game. That guy right there. Removed entirely. Then the Sweet Gum has one more to place. Everyone is now on the board. So you're not going to be filling every single spot. You see there's still some vacancies here and there. And this begins phase 2 of the game of movement. So the way this is going to work is you are only able to travel your men, your pieces, along the lines. Remember, think of them like streets. And anytime you form a mill, again, you can remove one of the opponent's pieces, one of the opponent's men. Some rules for movement: you cannot jump from corner to corner, you can't go where there isn't a street, and you also can't bypass another piece. Like for example, if you see right here, I have a stone, a Sweet Gum, and a vacant spot. I would not be able to take this stone, go around or over the Sweet Gum piece to the open spot. That move is blocked by the Sweet Gum. Now there's 2 different ways to play this, 2 different sets of rules that I've come across when I was looking at this game. One set of rules says that when you move a piece out, and then on your next turn you move it back into a mill, you cannot count that as another mill. It's those same 3 pieces in that same 3 spots. You've already done that one, so you can't just do it back to back. Just move your piece back and forth and be gaining a mill each time. One set of rules says you cannot do that. Another set of rules says that is perfectly fine. So before you begin playing, make sure you and your opponent discuss this and you agree on what rules you would like to follow. So we're going to go ahead and start our movement phase here. So Sweet Gums are going to be going first, again trying to find any way that they can make a mill. So we're going to move one here into the middle. Stone's going to move here to this middle. This is when you can get a little bit of strategy going on. So I'm going to take this Sweet Gum piece, move it down. Stone is going to move up and form a mill. That means they can remove any of the Sweet Gum pieces. And you have to be looking at what your opponent could be trying to do here. Now, for the Sweet Gums, you have 3 in a corner like this. This guy could move down here to the corner, and the next turn this guy move in, forming a mill. So to prevent that from happening, since it's the stone's turn, and the stones are able to remove a piece, we're going to take this guy up here in the corner out of the equation entirely. Now the Sweet Gum strategy is kind of challenged here. We're going to try and pull it off again. We're going to bring up one of these pieces there. The stones are going to move this guy over, form a mill, take a piece out of the game, be that guy again. Then Sweet Gums swoop in with this one, formed a mill, knock out one of these middle stones. Put them on this side. So let's see. What can the stones do now? Take that corner spot. this piece over. Now I'm playing with the rules where you cannot just go back and forth and form the same mill multiple times. Sweet gums can move down to this corner. Stones, boom, form a mill, and let's take out one of these sweet gum pieces. Now, again, you have to watch and be aware of what your opponent is doing. It's not just a game of trying to form as many mills as you can, as quick as you can. Again, you're trying to prevent the opponent from making the mill as well. And if I'm the stones, I can see where this piece can be brought down and form a mill. So I want to take this guy out of the game there. But then, move this guy up, take out one of those stones, and such on and so forth. Now the game is going to keep going on until you can no longer form any mills, until one side just does not have enough men, or he's cornered, or he's trapped, and there you have your winner. So we'll play this through and see what happens. Now what gets frustrating in this game is when you see that your opponent is easily about to do something, easily about to form a mill, and you can do nothing about it. You just have to try to find a way to maybe take one of his pieces out as quick as you can. Like for example, the sweet gums here. I see that they're about to form a mill. So if I'm able to form a mill, take this guy out of the game. And there you have it. The stones have now knocked out any chance of the sweet gums scoring again. So that's how you play Nine Man's Morris. I think I followed my own rules right. It was kind of tricky being both sides. But again, very simple, very ancient game. All you need is some way to draw a board or make a board, and then 2 sets of 9 pieces, 2 sets of 9 men. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and hope you guys enjoy playing Nine Man's Morris. Remember, this is a 2-person game, again with 2 different sets of rules, whether you're able to make the same mill back and forth, or once you've formed it, you have to change out one of the pieces. So be sure to discuss that, decide before you start to play. Let's try to keep some peace in the households here. And if you'd like to learn more, you can find all kinds of great information about Nine Man's Morris and other colonial games on the internet. So a quick Google search will bring up some pretty interesting results. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.